Okay, so we've got some pretty intense weather happening down south. Been seeing a lot about Tropical Storm Helene in the Gulf.
Yeah.
You've sent over some articles. It looks pretty serious. You've been keeping up with all this, so what's the latest?
Yeah, so Helene, well, the situation is concerning. It's intensifying really rapidly.
Okay.
And the projections are showing it could actually become a major hurricane before it makes landfall.
And when we say landfall, we're talking about the Florida Panhandle, right?
That's right, Florida Panhandle, late Thursday.
Wow. Okay, so we're potentially looking at a jump from a tropical storm to a Category 3 hurricane, and all in a matter of hours. That's a pretty startling jump in intensity. What could be causing that kind of rapid development?
Yeah, it is really fast. One of the main things is the water in the Gulf of Mexico right now. Unusually warm.
And it's like warm water. Think of it like high-octane fuel for hurricanes.
Oh,
It
okay.
gives them so much more energy so they can intensify like this much faster.
So Helene's getting a power boost from this unusually warm water. And one of the articles, it was from CBS News, I think, mentioned that this warmer water is connected to climate change.
Right.
So could this rapid intensification be a sign of what we might see more of? I mean, with future hurricane seasons, I mean.
It's certainly possible. As ocean temperatures continue to rise because of climate change, it's possible we'll see more hurricanes intensifying in a similar way, which would make them harder to predict and prepare for, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is a worrying thought. So we have a rapidly strengthening hurricane, and it's projected to make landfall on the Florida Panhandle. And the articles you sent over mention storm surge as a major threat. Now, for anyone who maybe hasn't experienced a hurricane before, can you explain what storm surge is exactly and why it's so dangerous?
Yeah, so imagine a wall of water, sometimes as high as 15 feet or even higher, crashing onto the shoreline.
Wow.
That's storm surge.
Okay.
And it's not just waves, it's a huge temporary rise in sea level.
Okay.
And that's caused by the hurricane's winds. So the wind is so strong, it pushes the ocean water inland.
Oh, wow.
And the CBS article, it actually highlights that in some areas, the surge heights could be 10 to 15 feet, which, to put that into perspective, that's like the entire first floor of your home being underwater.
That's a scary thought.
Yeah.
And it's easy to see how damaging that would be, even miles inland.
Exactly. And it's not just the immediate coast that's at risk.
Yeah.
The further inland it travels, the more destructive it can be.
And then on top of all that, there's the heavy rainfall. The articles mentioned something like up to 8 inches in some places, which just seems like a lot on top of everything else that's happening.
Oh, absolutely. That much rain in such a short time, combined with the storm surge, creates, well, it's just the perfect recipe for really bad flooding.
So it's not just about being near the coast then. It sounds like everyone in Helene's path really needs to be ready for flooding no matter where they are.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is where that Know Your Zone map comes in, right? The one from the Florida Division of Emergency Management.
Yeah, that map is so important. It's really crucial for anyone who lives in an area that's prone to hurricanes. It tells residents what zone they're in based on like their elevation and how close they are to potential flood zones.
So essentially this map is giving people the information they need to stay safe. Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay, so why is it so important to actually understand your evacuation zone, especially with a storm like Helene that could, become so intense so quickly?
Well, it's all about having a plan, like before the storm hits,
Right.
Knowing your zone, it really helps you understand how much risk there is.
Yeah.
So if you're in a low-lying area, and those areas are very prone to storm surge and flooding,
Right.
you might need to evacuate sooner
Yeah.
rather than later, especially with Helene. I mean, it could become a major hurricane so fast. That timing is everything.
Yeah.
If you wait until the last minute to decide,
Yeah.
it could be really risky.
I imagine those evacuation routes could get really backed up.
Exactly.
And then people are going to be stuck
Ex-
with this massive storm coming.
Yeah, that's why it's so important to be prepared. You know your evacuation route,
Right.
you're all set. And you actually sent some good resources,
Oh, yeah.
some helpful articles
Yeah.
about hurricane preparedness.
Yeah.
What are some of the most important things people should be doing right now if they're in Helene's path?
Well, I think, first of all, everyone should have a go bag ready, like with all the essentials. Water, food that won't spoil, medication, copies of important documents,
Right?
Oh, and a first aid kit.
Of course.
Yeah, it's important not to forget that.
Yeah.
And obviously, make sure your phone is charged And it's a good idea to have a portable charger, too.
Yes.
Because the power will probably go out.
Oh, for sure. That and securing your property. So bringing anything that's loose indoors.
Right.
Trimming any trees that are near your house.
Yeah.
And if you're expecting high winds, boarding up your windows can make a huge difference.
Yeah. It's easy to forget how much we depend on electricity until we lose it.
Seriously.
And it's not just like a matter of convenience, it's a safety issue, too.
Absolutely.
Oh, speaking of which, flashlights.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to have flashlights.
Definitely.
And maybe a battery-powered radio.
Yeah.
If the internet goes down.
Good point, yeah.
So you can get updates.
It's good to have different ways to get information during a storm, for sure.
For sure, yeah. I think what's really gotten my attention is how quickly this storm, Helene, could become really serious.
Right.
It really drives home the point that you need to be prepared, be proactive.
Absolutely. It's key to stay informed, so keep up with the weather updates from like the National Hurricane Center and your local authorities.
Yeah.
They'll have the most up-to-date information about Helene's track, how intense it is, all of that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and just generally, if you're anywhere that's under any kind of warning, you got to take it seriously.
Right.
Don't try to wait it out. Your safety is the priority.
Absolutely, yeah. Safety first.
Yeah. Always better to be over-prepared than caught off guard.
Couldn't agree more. Well, we've covered a lot today. Helene's projected path, the intensity, how dangerous the storm surge could be, and all that rain. And being prepared.
Right.
This whole thing, this deep dive, has been really interesting, especially hearing about the connection between how warm the ocean is and these hurricanes getting stronger faster.
Yeah.
It makes you think about, what future hurricane seasons are going to look like.
Definitely something to keep in mind. As we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's really worth thinking about how, going forward, how our understanding of hurricanes and how we respond to them might need to change as we face, these growing impacts from climate change.
That's a really good point, something for everyone to think about. Stay safe out there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your expertise today. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Happy to be here.
And to everyone listening, stay informed, stay prepared, and stay safe.
Come get the straight news, no filter, where clarity is our thrill. Tune in and let your doubts wither at the Daily Chronicle. We keep it real. We keep it real. Come get the straight news, no filter, where clarity is our thrill. Tune in and let your doubts wither at the Daily Chronicle. We keep it real. We keep it real. Fucked on. Until the twilight, we're digging deep for you, uncovering the highlights of the world in every hue, from politics to passions and everything between. In every trend and fashion, we dish it out pristine. Come get the straight news, no filter, where clarity is our thrill. Tune in and let your doubts wither at the Daily Chronicle. We keep it real. Keep it real. Come get the straight news, no filter, where clarity is our thrill. Tune in and let your doubts wither at the Daily Chronicle. We keep it real. We keep it real. Straight news, no filter, where clarity is our thrill. Tune in and let your doubts wither at the Daily Chronicle. We keep it real.